Standing Simmer here today, and welcome back to another build in The Sims 4. This is a, oh my gosh, it's such a big house, guys. Okay, this is probably the biggest house I think I've built so far on the channel. I could be wrong. No, I'm pretty sure it is, actually. I was inspired by a couple of things. You guys know by now, if you've watched a couple of my builds, that I do like to consult Pinterest when I'm looking for a little bit of inspiration, a little bit of a muse, more or less. And by the way, I do highly recommend that you guys check out Pinterest or websites like that have really good photos of home exteriors if you're ever just kind of feeling like you're stuck in a rut and you don't exactly know what you want to build or do in The Sims, and you're looking for something. You know, you're looking for something, like I said, that inspiration. Anyways, that's where I get a lot of mine, is Pinterest. I was looking around over on Pinterest for just some ideas for some house design styles and things like that, and it just suddenly occurred to me that I hadn't yet tried to build anything in a strictly like Tudor style, more or less. And I also it's like I said, I haven't really built anything this big, honestly, on the channel. So all those things kind of merged together and became what we're looking at today, or at least what we will be looking at here in several minutes when it all kind of starts to come together. But right now I'm just kind of like scrambling to put together the outside structure of this house. To be honest with you, the structure of the outside of the house is the most difficult part to me. Furnishing is fine. Like I feel like I'm okay with furnishing, pretty comfortable with it. Floor planning, I'm weird, guys. I actually kind of enjoy floor planning. I know that's weird, but I like it. It's like a puzzle to me. Sometimes I've come across floor plans and houses that just don't really allow good floor plans, and it's just kind of fun for me to try to figure out how I'm gonna make everything fit and work together in a floor plan. But so like, I don't mind floor plans at all. I know a lot of people don't like them, but the outside structure of the house is what's the most difficult part for me. I've seen building tutorials, and all the time people are saying, oh, you know, if you're worried about creating a box, don't create a box. But that's like all I know how to start with is a box. So I just like start drawing boxes on top of one another and like thinking, oh, hey, this part of the house looks too flat. Let's add a something, you know, whether a roof or a decoration or like a little out jutting of the house itself. I mean, something, you know. So that's what we're doing right now, is putting together the exterior. And so you'll notice already there have been several skips at points when I was kind of struggling to come together with the actual outside structure of the house. So long story short, we do a lot of skipping in this video because, to be honest with you, the fact that it's like somewhere around the 25 to 26 minute mark at the moment is an absolute miracle, because this build took me so long to put together. Being that the size of the house obviously played a part in that, because it ends up being a 5-bedroom, 5-bathroom house, not to mention the vast amount of space that you end up with living area and things like that. So there's just like a ton of room in this house, guys. But then the yard area is also pretty extensive as well, which obviously you're not seeing any of that just yet. I've not even begun the landscaping, but we will get to that point in a while. And you'll notice that there's just so much, there's a lot of detail that I wanted to put in this house, and I hope that when it all comes down to it, you guys will agree that it is a well-detailed house, and that I end up with what I kind of think I was going for to begin with, which I was inspired by the lavender flower that we have in the game, which I've mentioned before in a couple of speed builds that I really love lavender. It's one of my favorite herbs, and some of you guys might think I'm saying that funny. Where I'm from, we say herbs. I've also heard people say herbs, but I've always understood that the H is silent. You guys have to let me know. How do you pronounce the word herbs? How do you pronounce it? H-E-R-B-S. How do you pronounce it? Let me know. H or no H? I'd like to know. Anyways, so I've mentioned before that I love lavender. I think it's one of it's just a beautiful flower and flower herb, whatever. And I love the smell of it, and I do like to grow it in my garden when I get the chance. And I was just thinking, what if I build a house that has a garden like kind of completely dedicated to this flower? And so that was actually what I began thinking about when I was trying to figure out what I was going to put together for this build. And then it kind of emerged into like the Tudor style, and then we went to like this massive mansion, and then like it all kind of fell into place after that. But my initial thought for this build was that it was going to be a house inspired by the flower. Not so much the house as in like the exterior, but the yard, as you'll see later on, is just fraught with lavender, like there's lavender everywhere. It just exploded all over the backyard of this house, and it just kind of like here and there in the landscaping. And so that was kind of what I was going for. And I also thought that lavender, I was picturing like lavender fields, right? And for some reason, Tudor style seemed like it fit well with that. You know, I was thinking like country garden type thing. And so yeah, that's kind of, I don't know why I feel the need to like explain to you guys for, I don't 5 minutes, you know, what my thought process was going into just starting to create the build. Like not even my decisions for, oh, why I did this with the house right now, or why I decorated this room this way. No, for the first 5 minutes, all I've talked to you guys about is, oh, this is what like inspired me to build this house. And so like, I hope you guys actually don't mind that information. I mean, I watch a lot of Sims YouTubers. I mentioned this before, obviously. Probably if you're watching this video, you watch a lot of other Sims YouTubers as well. If you don't currently, I mean, I can recommend some for sure. You know, let me know in the comments if you need some recommendations. But I love watching Sims YouTubers, and I actually enjoy hearing the thought process that other people have when it comes to building, because not only does it make the build feel more personal to me as someone who's watching it and who wasn't privy to the building process or the thoughts of the person while they were building, but it also just gives me inspiration, guys, the other I word. It gives me inspiration for builds of my own. So I like hearing that in other people, but I realize that not everyone's like me. Y'all aren't like me, you know, necessarily in every aspect. So yeah, let me know if you don't mind hearing the backstory of the house and all that good stuff. So yeah, anyways, that was a long drawn out explanation as to why I talked to you guys for as long as I did about what led me to want to build this house and all that good stuff. And as we stand now, you can see that I've pretty well put together the outside structure of the house. And to be honest with you guys, I am so in love with this house. Like, I am actually so proud of how it turned out. I don't feel like I've ever built anything quite this, like I said, I've never built anything quite this massive. And I almost think it's just kind of grand. You know, I not to toot my own horn really, but I'm very proud of how it looks all together. Like the outside came together just as I was hoping it was going to. And that's always a good feeling for like kind of a bit of like a newbie, like a growing Sims builder like myself. I like to build. I enjoy it. You know, I do build, you know, at least twice on the channel. Most of the time I've been building in The Sims 4 since I got The Sims 4. But at the same time, I'm still not the greatest at it, and I've mentioned that before, but I just love learning new things, and I love stepping away from a structure that I've put together and thinking, hey, that actually doesn't look too bad. So that's how I felt with this, all in all, and I really just love the exterior of this house so much. And that is definitely the case still, even when we get to the backyard area much later in the video. Actually, it might be a good time for me to mention to you guys that the video is a little shorter than it probably technically should have been, because the very last thing I did in this build is kind of put together the backyard area, which ends up having like a pool and this like massive lavender garden area and like really pretty little like hedges. It's just kind of a cute, like I said, country garden type inspired backyard. I did that, and then I also did the last remaining bedroom upstairs. Those were the last two things I did when building this house. So I go to put all my footage in my editing software, and I speed it up, and I'm looking through it, and I realized that that last clip, which I did build on a different day to the rest of the house, that last clip just looked really bad to me. Like it was really laggy, because when I speed my builds up in my editing software, they always look a little bit laggy, because when you speed something like this up by 600 times, and probably something to do with the settings I have and all that stuff I don't understand very well, you know, when you do that, you do get a little bit of lag, but then once it renders, it's fine. Like it looks pretty, it looks seamless, at least all of what I've tested, that has been the case. But then with this last clip that I had, it was so laggy that even like not sped up, even after I went ahead and put it back to real time, it was such a laggy, just like catchy, like just, it was gross looking. I don't know what was going on exactly. I have a feeling that it was my OBS, which is what I use to record my videos and things like that, because there was this build, the last little bit of this build, and then another build that I recorded right after this one that will be going up on Thursday actually, with both of these builds, I noticed that my OBS was really starting to kind of affect my game. So it isn't very uncommon for OBS. I mean, just in case you don't know this, you know, if you do have OBS and use it, you might already know this very well. But in case you don't know, OBS does tend to slow down gameplay pretty well, actually, especially in The Sims 4, at least in my experience. So typically, unless you have like this really, really nice computer, I'll be playing my game and then I'll open up OBS and then all of a sudden, the quality, by that I mean like I don't know if the phrase is frames per second. I don't know if that's correct, but something along those lines just drops all of a sudden. So suddenly like there is a bit of lag that's introduced into whatever you're doing. So for example, in my current household updates, which you guys, maybe some of you have been watching on Saturdays, if you haven't, you know, please go watch that because I have a great time over there and I'd like to share that with you. But in those, I'll be playing the game and my game runs so smoothly, it's not even funny. Like I have a really, really nice computer, not the greatest, but a very nice computer. But then all of a sudden I'll open up OBS and hit record and it just lags right out, you know, like you can tell it starts to lag out a bit. But same thing with my builds, only like I said, once you speed it up and render it, it's usually not an issue. But that was not the case with the last two clips, or the last clip, the last two areas of the house. So unfortunately, long story short, you guys probably know by now that I just like ramble for a while. I'll eventually get back around to my point. You know, if you skip the video like 30 seconds to 2.5 minutes, you'll probably eventually get to where I was going anyway. But long story short, the last clip was just like not recoverable. It was just gross. I was not wanting to add it. I didn't want to put it in the video. I just didn't think it looked very good, especially for the last clip of a video. And so I was hoping that you guys wouldn't mind that too much and that you'd understand and that it would just kind of be okay that unfortunately I don't have any of the footage for, like I said, the last bedroom that we furnished upstairs and the backyard area, because either I did some of the backyard off camera or it was the footage itself that just wasn't very good quality. But I do believe I fixed the issue. Thankfully, the video that's coming out on Thursday didn't seem to have that problem. My game was still lagging out pretty reasonably, but the footage didn't look the same way as the footage clip I'm telling you guys about right now. So I think it's going to be just fine. Actually, I know it's going to be just fine because I've already recorded the voiceover and rendered it, and it looks fine to me, so I don't think it's a problem. But I did just want to let you guys know that the video will come to an end with us furnishing one of the bedrooms upstairs, and there will be one left untouched, and then I don't think you get to see very much at all of the backyard. So I'm very, very sorry about that. If I hadn't already saved the game and taken the screenshots and uploaded the build and all that kind of stuff, I would have, like I promise, I would have just gone ahead and rebuilt it on camera and then tried to figure something out. But I did not have the opportunity to do that this time. So like I said, I hope you guys don't mind. But long story short, again, long story short, guys, when it comes right around to it, I think my OBS just needed an update because I went on their website because I had heard like a little bit of like a rumor or something on Twitter that there was a new OBS update out, and I was like, oh, okay. And I had kind of just registered it at the time and then just didn't think about it again. But I actually went on their website and kind of started to look around for the update. And yes, it turns out that not only was there a brand new update available, but also the version of OBS that I had, there was a glitch in it that they talked about on the website, which prevented it from auto updating. You know, so it didn't know to update on its own. And so, yeah, long story short, I think my OBS is fine. I've actually recorded an entirely new build since then as well, that will be going up next week. And I don't think that there are any issues whatsoever. So there was a massive difference in my recording ability, like in my ability to play and build in the game, even with OBS running. So that was kind of cool. I'm glad that it's all kind of turned out pretty well. So to actually talk about the build and what we're doing in the build, obviously we've been on the interior on the lower floor for a little while now. And what I'm creating right now is something I want to tell you guys about because it's like so cute. I think it's adorable. I, for some reason, wanted to create like this little under the stairwell thing. And I didn't know what to put in there until I thought, hey, maybe this family has a pet or two. I was thinking specifically a cat because you saw me put a litter box in there. And so I just created this little like under the stairway like cubby hole type thing for a cat. And I just thought that that was kind of cool. And I put the self-cleaning litter box in there because then your Sims won't have to, have to access it and clean it. Your Sim might still be able to get under the stair. I actually didn't player test that. And I was not able to player test whether an animal could get under there because I don't have the controllable pets mod. But I just thought it was cute. It was a way to use up that space and to make it somewhat functional. And so I hope you guys like the way that that turned out. So we are moving on to the back, kind of like, I guess, is this called an atrium, guys? Is that the correct word for this? It's like a back porch, like sunroom type thing. And when I was showing this to my husband, and first of all, with this build, I really, really wanted to use those Laundry Day windows because they're so stinking gorgeous. I love those windows so, so much. So I was wanting to use those windows, and I was kind of trying to figure out what to put back here. And I was showing my husband, because I was showing him how gorgeous the windows are. And he said, hey, do you guys have hot tubs in The Sims 4? And I was like, do we have hot tubs in The Sims 4? And he said, well, I mean, it might be a good spot for a hot tub. And the hot tub fit perfectly back in that corner. It's like he planned it. It's like my husband knows more about The Sims than he, says that he knows about The Sims. I don't know, but which is funny because my husband actually isn't a Sims player. He used to play the OG Sims, like way back in the day. He has played the original Sims, and I don't know if he's played Sims 2, but he may have. But that was when he was like a kid, and he and his brother were always into games like quite a bit growing up anyway. And so it wasn't unusual for them to dabble in games here and there. So he has played the old versions of the Sims game, but has never played anything, more recent than that. And so he had no idea that there was a hot tub, but he called it just perfectly, is what I'm saying. So unfortunately here in the kitchen, I did skip a whole bunch of what we were doing because I was starting to kind of panic at the length of this video. Like I said, when it all came down to editing, I feel like sped up with no editing, this video was going to be like around the 45-minute to an hour mark. That's not including bathrooms because I didn't record the bathrooms. And it's not including, like I said, a lot of the landscaping. I showed you guys some of the landscaping toward the beginning, but other than that, yeah, I cut out a lot of I already didn't record a lot of the landscaping. Just the pure interior was going to be like over 45 minutes, which is ridiculous, by the way. I was actually slightly tempted to split this video into 2 parts because I was so proud of how the exterior turned out, which I've mentioned already, that I kind of wanted to show you guys a little more of it, but I wasn't going to be able to do that if I was also going to furnish it in the same video because, again, this is such a big house. So long story short, we do a lot of cutting, as I mentioned before, and so I kind of just showed you like the starting of some of the rooms and then the ending of some of the rooms, and not a lot of the decision-making process I make in the meantime. So once again, hope you guys don't mind that. I've really not had any, I've not had any zero, none, like no negative feedback when it comes to my editing or anything like that. Actually, you guys have never had anything but nice things to say, which I appreciate so much. But if you have any feedback for that sort of thing and you're like, yeah, Mariah, if you could leave in, such and such every once in a while, that'd be kind of cool, then just let me know because I'm more than happy to do that, especially on smaller builds and things like that. I like to kind of share components of my building thoughts and the process with you guys if time allows. Sometimes it does and sometimes it doesn't. So in this build, definitely didn't. That was not happening whatsoever. So we've finished furnishing, of course we've moved on past that point now, but just a second ago we were furnishing the only bedroom on the lowest floor of the house, which I imagine to be either for a butler. So this family's probably very well to do. They have money coming out, they're just coming out their ears, like it's coming out all over the place. So I imagine them to be fairly well-to-do, and that possibly that lower floor could be for a butler because it's also right down the hallway from the kitchen. I thought that that kind of made sense. Or that it could be for like a mother-in-law, or like if the grandparents of the main family who lives in this home are still alive and that they live with the family. I thought that that might be a pretty nice place for them to hang out. And once again, down the hallway, down the hallway from the kitchen. And we all know that most grandmothers make the best kind of cookies. So why not put them in close proximity to the kitchen just to encourage that behavior? My grandma actually doesn't really bake or anything like that. I only have one grandma who's still alive, and she doesn't really bake or anything like that. She's a good cook. Like she can make you like a rib roast like there's no tomorrow, honestly. But she doesn't do a lot of baking. And so when I was growing up, pecan sandies and tea was always our thing. So when she was coming to visit our house, like when I was younger, she'd come and stay with my parents and my family and me. And since I'm the oldest grandchild on that side of the family, our special little thing was that she would go to the grocery store before she got to our house and she'd buy a package of pecan sandies. And if you guys don't know what those are, it's kind of like I don't know if you're familiar with like a butter pecan type cookie, but that's kind of almost exactly what it is. And they're just like these little shortbread cookies that are really, really good. So they're very rich kind of tasting, kind of crumbly like a cracker, but rich in a cookie sense. And so that was kind of always our thing, was pecan sandies and tea. And so later in the evening, when all of my younger siblings had gone to bed and I got to stay up with grandma, which, you know, honestly is like the only perk of being the oldest of 5 kids. I kid you not. It's like, that's like the only perk. Everything else is like crazy. But that was a perk of being the oldest of 5. And so I got to stay up kind of late with my grandma, and we would just kind of like chat. And I felt like such a grown up because I got to stay up and eat cookies and drink tea, which was kind of fun. So I know not all grandmas are bakers, but perhaps if you choose to have a sim family with a grandma still living in the household, then maybe she likes to bake. And in that case, close proximity to the kitchen would be a good thing. So we've also already moved on to the upstairs floor, and I've just talked right on through the master bedroom, which by the way has just some gorgeous windows in it. Like, I imagine that the view from that master would be amazing. They also have their own fireplace, which is incredible. There are actually 3 fireplaces in this home, which is more than I've ever put in any home, period. There's one in the living room, one in the office, and then one in the master bedroom. And so the people in this house, they like their fires, you know, they like this cozy type of atmosphere. And yeah, it's just really cute, very nice. And so right a little bit down the hallway from the master is where I decided to pop this little cute twin bedroom. I imagine this to be, like I said, for a set of twins, specifically toddlers, because those are the bed types that I put in this room. But obviously, it does seem like that there would be enough room in this to either move out both the beds and then put in a single bed, or to put in 2 single child beds. Yes, child beds. So you could probably have 2 sims, or just 1 sim to be fair, of lots of life stages, lots of ages in that room. Okay, guys, can you tell my voiceover is kind of like progressing in a weird direction? Once you start talking for like several minutes like this, I feel like my brain is just a little scattered and my words come strangely. And so yeah, anyways, this is the last bedroom of the house that I was mentioning earlier. Again, I did furnish all of the bathrooms off camera. There is a laundry room on the lower floor in one of the bathrooms there. And oh, hold on a second. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You guys, I lied to you earlier. There are 6 bathrooms in this house, not 5, because that is one of the 6 bathrooms on the lower floor is where the laundry room area is. But I did all that stuff off camera. But this is the last room period that we will be furnishing on camera. Again, footage. I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. I think I've got it fixed though, so I don't think that there will be an issue with that going forward. At least I really hope not. Oh my gosh, that was such a mess. I hated not being able to show you it, but there are so many screenshots at the end of some of the things that were missed, so I hope you guys don't mind that. You'll have to see it that way and not via the video. But yeah, definitely check out those screenshots because I'm so proud of how the backyard turned out, like I said, and I hate that I didn't really get to show it to you. Yeah, check out the screenshots, which are actually coming up, by the way. They've hit, we are on those screenshots. What a segue, right? Like, I sound like a professional YouTuber, just segue right into the screenshots. So yeah, there are a jillion screenshots in this video because it's such a big build. But anyways, it is up on the gallery if you guys would like to download it. I called it Lavender Tudor, I believe, and it's under my ID Standing Simmer or under the hashtag Standing Simmer. And I'm trying to kind of play with popping download links down in the description because I finally figured out how to do that. So yeah, check that out if you would like, and you can just go ahead and download it right into your game. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and leave you guys off for the screenshots right here because like I said, there are a few, and it's fun to listen to some rockin' music and not necessarily me. So I hope you guys are having the best of days, and I will see you very soon. Bye.
I'm so